Um, I wanted to talk about something that it might sound a little strange, but basically it's how to find yourself when you feel like you've lost yourself for one reason or another. And this is something that happens to INFPs when we have like maybe a little breakdown, and that can happen maybe after being in a bad relationship sometimes. Um, we do tend to, unfortunately, frequently find ourselves in relationships with the wrong people, and it can sometimes be emotionally abusive. Um, and so, to get out of that, once coming out of that, you might feel like you've lost a little bit of who you are. Another situation where you can lose sight of who you are might just be from stress. Maybe you work in a place or go to school in a place where you're constantly surrounded by people, um, and you feel like you're being pulled in different directions by all these people around you who need you for one thing or another, or who you worry about. Um, or it could be just from being around people in general, and it leaves you stressed, and you start to feel like you don't know who you are or what's important to you anymore, or how you fit in to life. So, how do you get back to that feeling of inner peace and kind of like security with yourself? Well, it does take time, but there are a few things that have helped me as I've gone through those situations over the years. And I just wanted to share them. And this isn't something that like I've completely mastered. These are things like I'm such a huge work in progress. So these are things that I continue to do as I, month by month, just try to get by. So, but they do help. So I'm sharing them. The first one is every day try and take a 30-minute walk alone. And this is really great because, first of all, walking is good for you. It's exercise. Even if you walk slow, it's still exercise. So it's a good way to get your heart rate pumping, um, and get your muscles going. Um, but it's also good in that it gives you a chance to think by yourself. Um, you get to let your mind just kind of wander. And usually, as INFPs, we think about things that really matter to us when we're alone. And those are things that we don't get to really spend a lot of time focusing on when we're constantly surrounded by people. So to take that walk alone is really important because it gives you a chance to reconnect with yourself, with your deep inner self. So it's really important to do that every day if you can for a while. 30-minute walk. Another thing that's helped me is to keep a poetry journal. Um, I've tried keeping journals and it's not the same. A poetry journal is a little bit better for me. Everyone's different, so maybe a regular journal would be better for other people. But I find that a poetry journal is kind of more suited for me because you don't have to write incomplete sentences. You don't have to write anything that even makes sense. You just get to write whatever you're feeling. It could just be words that seem to not make sense at the time while you're writing them. But I promise you that if you do that, a couple weeks later, if you go back and look at what you've written, you'll realize that it's a poem and that it does make sense. It's describing how you felt in that moment. And usually after you dump out these words that are just kind of like pouring out of you, you get them on paper, you feel like a little bit of a weight has come off of you. So that's why I feel like poetry is a little bit more flexible, and allows you to be more natural in releasing the stuff that's locked up inside of you. So, and it's good to write in that every day. I didn't write in mine every day. I wrote like maybe every other day, and that was helpful for me. The third suggestion is to dance. Sometimes we INFPs have a tendency to get out of touch with our bodies. Um, I'm not sure why that is, but we just do. We're usually, not all of us, but I know I am an physically awkward person. And I've read in like psychology literature that a lot of INFPs are also physically awkward because they're not usually in touch with their bodies. So that's why it's good for us to dance. Because we don't have to be awkward. We don't have to be that way. And if you're kind of shy like I am, you might not want to dance in front of people or with people. That's okay. You can dance by yourself at home. Or even better, you can take like a Pilates class or some kind of class where you get to kind of stretch and move your body and learn how to position yourself in time and space. Because when you learn what your position is physically, it kind of helps to ground you on another level too, like emotionally. It's very interesting how that works. And it is helpful. And last but not least, another suggestion that's helped me is to paint. I would have never thought of this, but I'm sure you've heard of these places called like Painting with a Twist, or those little places where you get like they give you some painting supplies, and then they tell you, okay, step one, draw this line, and then paint this, and then do this, and you just kind of like follow the teacher or whatever until you painted a scene. Okay. Well, my friend invited a group of us to do that at her place, except so it wasn't in like a professional setting. It was just at her apartment. And she was like, instead of me leading you guys through painting something, just paint whatever you want, whatever you feel like it, whatever you feel like. So I did, and I'd never painted before. My goodness, like she put on some music, and I totally got into that. It was so relaxing. It was almost as relaxing as getting a massage. And I'd never really painted before, but in the end, because it was something that came from my heart, and and I was in a completely relaxed state of mind, the painting turned out like I'm actually kind of proud of it. And I'm not usually proud of anything I do, but it didn't look bad at all, especially for someone who never painted before. So I think that just goes to show that painting is a good way of centering yourself. And yeah, it's a nice way of finding some peace. So if you can, painting supplies don't have to be expensive. You can get like the cheapest little supplies, put on some music, and don't try to paint something to make it perfect. Just do a little abstract, like get that brush across the board and just let whatever you feel like come out onto the canvas. And it will be very relaxing. It was for me, so hopefully it will be for you too. So yeah, those are some suggestions that have helped me to like slowly come back to a place where I feel comfortable in my own skin again after experiencing extreme stress or a traumatic situation. Um, and again, those were taking a 30-minute walk every day, keeping a poetry journal, dancing, or doing some kind of physical activity that puts you in touch with your body. And last but not least, painting, even if you think you can't, just painting for fun. Is there something else that you find has helped you to find yourself um, after going through something traumatic? And if yeah, then please leave it in the comments below because it might help someone who's going through that right now. Yeah. Okay, well that's it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.